What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to look at the new best deck in the Digimon trading card game. Now, I'm not telling you that Jesmon is going to remain the best deck from here until the end of time. I'm not telling you it's going to remain the best deck from here until next week. But I am absolutely telling you that according to the information gathered by the lovely folks over at DTCG Review, they are awesome, you should definitely be following them on Twitter, Jesmon is the best deck in the format right now. There were 18 tournament results collected from the previous weekend, and we see pretty clearly there that the best deck with 6 out of 18 wins was Jesmon. Maybe it's a flash in the pan. Maybe it won't last. We can never say for absolute certainty. But the one thing we can say right now, with absolute certainty, wow, okay, a pretty high degree of certainty, that at least in the first weekend of BT6 being legal, Jesmon is your best deck in the format. So let's take a gander, shall we? Now, the deck list here was tweeted out by Trikaida Ania, and shout out to DCCG Review for popping me over to it. And we need to start off looking, as we tend to do here, at the Digitama. And we've got the fairly usual 4-1 split here. You're allowed to play 5 Digitama. There's one you really want to play, that's your 4 of. And then you add in another one because you can. Now, the 4 of here is actually the Demi Meramon that came around in BT6. When you're attacking a player, you gain 1,000 power for the turn. So really good against those pesky security Digimon, which is always a nice little bonus. And then we've got our one-off here, which is your Digimon that came around in the Gallantmon starter deck. When your opponent's Digimon is deleted once during your turn, this Digimon gains 2,000 power. It's not as reliable, unfortunately, but it's not too bad. And quite frankly, it will do. Not perfect, not by any stretch of the imagination. That's why it's the 1 of, not the 4 of. But you know what? For now, it's the best we've got, so it will have to do. Moving over into level 3s then. I mean, look, we're playing a Jesmon deck, so it's probably not going to surprise you to know that we are going ahead and playing a full playset here of Huckmon. Now, Huckmon, when you play it, you reveal 5 cards on the top of your deck and add up to 2 Digimon with Huckmon, Jesmon, or Systemon in their name to your hand, placing the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. If you're playing this deck, this gives you extra consistency. Really is as simple as that. You don't really have much of a choice here. If you're not playing this, your deck is going to be significantly less consistent, and honestly, that seems kind of silly. Why would you do that to yourself? Now, we do have a couple copies of Agumon here, which I know doesn't really narrow it down, but it is the Agumon that came around in that Gallantmon starter deck. When you're attacking a player, you gain 2,000 power for the turn. Given that's what we had, well, actually double what we had on our Digitama of choice, that kind of makes sense to me. Now, we have just a couple copies here of Monodramon, and Monodramon here, right? You're playing it because it's a 2 cost to play normally, level 3. Simple as that. It's not particularly good. It's not particularly impressive. It is particularly cheap. So that's why we're playing it, so we can get up to our bigger Digimon a bit more easily. And then it probably should go without saying here that we're playing 4 of the Systemon blank. Why would we not be playing 4 of the Systemon blank here? That would make very little sense. It is a Jesmon deck. We're playing the Systemon. On everybody's turns, while you have a Digimon with Huckmon in its name, or a Digimon with Royal Knight in its type, you have a bunch of all of those, or your Digimon with Systemon game blocker. So you're going to have a lot of blockers in play. You're playing 8 Systemon, you're going to have up to 8 blockers down, that's pretty good. And then when you play, you draw a card. Drawing cards is good. Drawing cards means you have what you need to get yourself through the day. This is a very good thing. So yeah, it's kind of a given we'd be playing that. Now moving over into level 4s, there's another one that it's kind of a given we'll be playing. It is Bao Huckmon. When you are attacking once during your turn, If you have a Digimon with Systemon in its name in play, you delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 5,000 power or less. Now, we are definitely playing the Systemon. We've seen the level 3, we'll get to the level 4 in a moment. So, clearly, this is going to be something you want to be having a bit of a play around with. This is going to be one of those cards. If you're playing a Jesmon deck, you're going to be playing Systemon. And if you're playing Systemon, this is one of those that it really doesn't make much sense not to play. Speaking of which, we are also playing 4 of the Systemon Noir here, as one might expect. On everybody's turn, your Digimon with Huckmon in their name or Royal Knight in their type gain 2,000 power. So we are really building up the power here. And, you know, especially when you're attacking a player, you are just not going to get taken out very easily. Oh yeah, and when you play it, you gain a memory. So it's basically a free cost to play level 4, which seems pretty gosh darned good to me. Now, as well as new cards here, we do have ourselves an old favourite coming in. One of these ones has been played since the beginning. The Greymon from the Red Starter deck. It's got an inheritable skill that gives you security attack +1. Well, you're going to have a lot of power. You're going to be going for some really big attacks. More on that in a moment. So, having extra security attack to build up to those big attacks, well, that certainly does seem to make a fair amount of sense to me. So we're really trying to build up our power here. The other level 4 we see is another newer Digimon. It is Monochromon from BT5, not BT6, but still newer. It's a 1-cost Digivolve blocker. And it's as simple as that. We see 1-cost Digivolve blockers in all the colours. And it's kind of a given at this stage, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending how you look at it. These are going to be played a huge amount. 1-cost Digivolve is good, blocker is good, put it together, and you've just got an absolute must-play card. You see them in all the colours. They are going to be among the most widely played Digimon, and there is a pretty gosh darned good reason for it. Now, moving over into level 5s, once again, we have a pretty gosh darned obvious one that you definitely could have seen coming. It is Savior Huckmon. When you Digivolve, you may play a Digimon card with Systemon in its name from your hand without paying. Bearing in mind that's going to draw you a card or gain you a memory, which is cool. And when you're attacking once per turn, if you have a Digimon with Systemon in its name in play, you unsuspend this Digimon. So we've now got extra security attack, but we can also unsuspend. And we're building up our power, so we're not getting deleted by security Digimon. Yeah, we are really building up here to essentially a 1 or 2 turn win. We are building up to, I'm going to take out a bunch of security. I am going to unsuspend. I am not going to be taken out by your security cards regardless. Jobs are good, and ladies and gentlemen, jobs are good. Now, there is one other level 5 we see here. It is Volkdramon from way back in BT4. Gives you security attack +1. Again, we're starting to paint a picture here, right? We're starting to build up exactly how this is working. I showed you a level 4 Greymon that gives you security attack +1. Here's a level 5 that gives you a security attack +1. So now, in theory, you've got security attack +2 and you're unsuspending. Things are building up very, very nicely here. Not to mention lots of blockers to slow down your opponent. And there is actually one other level 5 we do see here, just a couple copies of Groundramon. And there's nothing groundbreaking about this Digimon, but it's cheap. And it really is as simple as that. We're playing Groundramon here because it's a 5-cost to play normally, cheap for a level 5. 2-cost to Digivolve, cheap for a level 5. There's nothing else special about it, like at all. But you don't need anything else special about it. That's the reason people play Groundramon. It's good for what it does. Now, as we move over into level 6s, obviously it's a Jesmon deck, right? So that is our priority here. That is what we're generally tending to go for. We are building up to Jesmon because it is a Jesmon deck. I'd like to think that was moderately, well, kind of predictable, to be perfectly honest with you. Now, what we've got here is 11,000 power, but again, this is going to build up quickly. When you are attacking, you may play a Digimon card with Systemon in its name from your hand or trash without paying its memory cost. And on your turn, once during your turn, when you play another Digimon, you gain 3,000 power and piercing. So firstly, like with all the other stuff we've got boosting your power, you're going to get up to ridiculous levels here. And you've got piercing, so you can actually take out a Digimon before you start going after the stack. And we're going to have a bunch of extra security attack because of the things we've already mentioned. And the fact you should be unsuspending, and it is absolutely possible that you're going to use one Jesmon just to take out all of your opponent's security in one go. This is even the kind of Digimon that you would want to potentially build up in the raising area until you're ready to basically just swing for game. Now, we do have one level 7 here. It is your Omnimon, the newer of the Omnimon, I should mention here. And this is one, you might never need this. Yeah, Jesmon might be enough on its own. But this is actually pretty gosh darn important. Now, what we've got here is it's got advance, which means you can attack even if you Digivolve up and it should go to your opponent's turn. When you Digivolve, you unsuspend. Yes, for anyone counting, that does mean 3 uses in one go, because you're already unsuspending with an inheritable skill. Now you evolve up into Omnimon and unsuspend, which means you're basically attacking 3 times with the same Digimon. And on all turns, if an opponent's effect would delete this Digimon or return it to its owner's hand, you may prevent it by trashing a level 6 Digimon card in your Digivolution cards. Well, hopefully you're never actually really going to need that. Hopefully you're already going to be swinging for the game. Now, we do have another way to increase security attack here. It is the Taikamiya, the one that came around right back at the beginning. And it gives you security attack +1 if you got 4 Digivolution cards, which you're going to make sure you do. That is kind of the whole point of this. It is a kind of deck where you're going to be building up a Jesmon in the raising area, because remember, stuff is safe and protected in the raising area, and then you're going to try and come out and win in a single turn. It's also got that thing that guarantees you start the turn with free memory, which is quite nice, but it's largely here for security attack +1. And the thing is, you got your regular security attack, and then this gives you security attack +1, and then you've got your Voltramon that gives you security attack +1, and you got your Greymon that gives you security attack +1, and you're unsuspending with Systemon, and you're unsuspending with Omnimon. I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot be the only one that's thinking that essentially what you do here is you pull your Jesmon out and you win. You take out all your opponent's security cards in one go, and then you unsuspend and just attack for the game. And you basically just spend the entire game up until then just trying to make sure that you're still alive by the time your Jesmon comes out. It's pretty punishing. Now, we do have some option cards here which are actually pretty gosh darn good. A Delicate Plan is actually extremely important. It's a 1-cost card that says, one of your Digimon gains, this Digimon doesn't activate the security effects of any card it checks for the turn. And the reason this is so important is because we're building up our power to the point where we're just not getting deleted by anything. However, there's still things like Gaia Force that can come out and wreck your day. This guarantees that there's no card that can get rid of you with a security effect, while you're also powerful enough that no card is going to get rid of you with power. So when you're doing those checks after check after check with the same card, doesn't matter, you are not going down. Now, we also have 3 copies of another 1-cost option card here. It is Judgment of the Blade. One of your Digimon with Huckmon in its name or Royal Knight in its type can attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon for the turn, which is kind of awesome because you've got piercing, so you can take out their best Digimon while then rushing through and taking out all of these security checks as well. Hopefully you're not going to need it. Hopefully you're going to win in a single turn, but it's nice if you don't. It's also got a really nice security skill here that lets you play a Systemon from your hand or trash for free and then add it to your hand, and a lot of the time that is going to be what you're hoping for more than actually playing it normally. We've then got that brand new option card, the memory saver, as it were, and essentially what we've got here is you play it for free memory, and it lets you reveal the top 4 cards of your deck and add a red Digimon to your hand, which is good for consistency. But then it goes into your main, into your area, and at that stage, at any time in the future, you can just trash it to gain 2 memory. But the thing to remember is, you're trying to build up here for one big turn, And that is what this is going to do absolutely beautifully. It is going to give you extra memory. When you have that one big turn, this is going to give you extra memory to use on that turn, and that is a very good thing indeed. This is a very good deck indeed. This is a kind of deck where you build up Jesmon in your raising area where it basically can't be countered. You try and buy time with Systemon and all of that, and then you just come out and win the game in a single turn with one Digimon, and that is pretty gosh darned awesome. Fair to say we've got a new best deck. Will it last? Is Lordknightmon coming back? I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. Sure is going to be fun finding out though, isn't it? So tell me what you think about it in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.